Hi friends, it's Connie, the Late Blooming Crafter, and today I wanted to show you what I finally completed. I've been working on this journal that I actually made the cover for a while back when I did my tutorial for decoupaging with the iron-on method, and I finally got into that and finished that journal, and I decided, although it was pretty enough, it needed some toppers. And what's really fun is that while I was making it, which has happened to me a few times, I realized who I want to gift it to, and that makes it really, I don't know, I just enjoy making a journal a little bit more when I have a person in mind that I will gift it to. And that's what happened while I was making this portion of it. And then when I started making the toppers, I was able to kind of make it a little bit more personalized for her. And she's a sweet young gal that's in my congregation. And she's done a couple really very loving things for me in the past few years. So I wanted to reciprocate. So, as I said, my journey is all about, and my recording is about kind of documenting the journals that I make so that I can see my progress, but also so I can inspire others. And because I'm not keeping most of them, I want to be able to remember them in pictures and video. So as we take this apart, I'm sorry, I've got a little bit of a cold and I'm congested. You could see that the first part of this, I guess I can take the ribbon out, but this was a file folder that I decoupaged just regular craft paper on, or scrapbook paper. Real pretty. I love the paper. And I ironed it on with Mod Podge. And I have a tutorial for that. And then I took some linens. I have a ton of linens because I've collected linens over the years. And then when I was flipping furniture and had a little retail spot that I rented, I accumulated even more. But I thought the colors went really well with this paper. And if you look close, I even, because it was a little bit flat, even though there's some 3D from the flowers and embroidery, I cut out some pieces to fill in some blank spots here and glued those down. And it just turned out really pretty, I think. But again, that in itself was fine. But I started to think, I admire so many other crafty ladies on YouTube that I follow that layer, like Anne from Old Asina Scraps. She just is so talented, and she layers, and she's made some toppers and things. And so I thought, okay, that's what I need to do, right? I need to learn and be able to create the look that I like that other people do. So then I had a little bit of extra left over from that file folder that I decoupaged, because when I cut this was left. And so then I made a smaller journal to complement this one. And then I think even before I did that, I had thought about having this as just a topper. But somehow it worked its way in, and I don't even know if they're toppers anymore because they've become journals almost in of themselves, especially this one. So before we get to those, I'll just show you what I originally did here and open this up. Well, let's show the back first. And I don't know, I glued these pockets on to lift the cards out this way, so you have to turn the journal sideways. And that's how I put the initials of the recipient. Maybe I should have put them this way, but because you have to turn it to pull out the journal cards, that's just what I chose to do. And I put a little decorative edge on the back too with some fabric that I glued down just the edge of this. And then I don't know, that's kind of what I did. But anyway, on the inside, I put this mulberry paper, I believe it is. That's what I decoupaged down. And a pretty little pocket that was from some digital. This all has digital in it. And some coffee stained paper that was also printed on digital. Put some cute little cards in here. I think these are all mostly Tim Holtz, but they could be from some other companies, I'm not sure. A little stamping, some pretty ribbon and lace. And this coffee dyed paper, it turned out this way because I dried it on a patio table that's metal and has the diamond shape. I thought it turned out really neat. And there's a little bit of a decoration there, embellishment. And then a little pocket and a little notepad that I made. And then just added some stickers, some stamping. And I had mentioned in one of my previous videos that I wasn't sure that I was in love with this ribbon putting here to reinforce the holes that I punched for this journal. But I had already done it on these papers, so I used them. But then I realized it's not necessarily that it's a bad idea. I think this ribbon that I used is just thick and makes it a little bit harder to lay flat. So that's something I learned. Here I took an envelope from my stash, just a pink envelope, and folded it in half, decorated it with some of the digitals and ribbon and lace, and put some cards in the top I believe I just probably cut off the top to create 2 pockets. And then the little hearts that I glued on. So I thought that turned out pretty cute. And then put it on kind of in a hinge style, because that's, again, I think I just learned how to do that in my last effort of my journal. And I always want to keep challenging myself and learning how to do different things. And the hinge is something I hadn't done before, I don't believe. And just stamping here. And then a old music sheet that I folded and made pockets out of. But instead of gluing it down, for some reason I decided it would be kind of neat to just maybe paper clip it and allow her to be able to have this as a journaling spot, but still as pockets and tucks. And this is one of the bookmarkers that I made when I also decoupaged and stamped and used a file folder to make some cards, journaling cards and bookmarks. And there's some more of the digital. And some of the digitals that I had printed out recently, my printer wasn't working up to par, and so there was some red lines going through it. And so I tried to still use the papers that I had printed by using only part of the paper and throwing away the part that had the red in it, although some of it still does. It's not terribly noticeable on some of them that I used, but I still found a way to incorporate them and use them. And one of the things that I did was, after tearing them, the bad part off, I inked the edges and then folded them, and some of them I went in and stamped and just decorated a little bit, still leaving some spaces for journaling. But I thought, that's what we're all about with junk journaling, is using things up and not wasting. And so I had a lot of those papers. I should have checked my printer to make sure it was working before I had printed a lot. And that's from Tim Holtz. But anyway, I thought this was kind of neat, just to tear the top off and put it up here. That was kind of cute, and make a pocket. And I made an upside down pocket that I guess it kind of wants to hold those, but anyway, those are some more of those that I just repurposed and used and didn't want to waste. So I tried to use them in a way that would allow me to use them without showing the bad parts, like I mentioned. This I thought turned out really cute. This paper is so pretty. I made a little notepad and then hinged that on. A little ruffle. Little ball pen with a key charm. Little bunny stamp. I love my bunny stamps. Some more Tim Holtz cards. And this one I made. These are some more of those papers. And then the red. Kind of pulled out the red, the darker color in this handkerchief that I had left over from my last project. And here's another part of a handkerchief that I made a pocket out of. And I think I glued that actually on some pink fabric so it would be more substantial. And then made a pocket. And then this was from this handkerchief. And so to make these pages cohesive, I used them on both pages. I think that turned out really cute. This is a card I made. And another pocket and a little card from the digital. More coffee stained paper. Here's an envelope that I made from a book page. And this is one of my earlier projects that I did when I first started journaling, making junk journals. And you take a recipe card, and well, two of them, and you glue them together just on the edges, and then you cut the end off, and you tuck something up in there and glue it. I can't remember exactly how I did it, but I know there's tutorials on it. And then you create a journaling spot within these two recipe cards. And what's special about this recipe card is, and of course I decorated it, but it was my sister's handwriting. She passed away a few years ago, so that's pretty special, and I have some more of hers, so I will make some more to keep for myself, but I thought that was kind of a nice little thing to put in this pocket, or this envelope. And I love that little hiding journaling card in there. I think that's super cute. And again, instead of gluing this down, I paper clipped it so that this page could be used for journaling. And then this was one of those digitals that, excuse me, excuse me, I'm so sorry. I cut them diagonally and created a couple pockets. And then this is the back and more digital that I created a pocket and put in some cards from, I believe, Tim Holtz. And I love this one. It's so moody and dark and just vintage looking, as well as this one. They all are, I guess, really my style. And the colors just went nicely. And then the back, which you've already seen. And a little bit more of a vintage handkerchief and some buttons and lace. And I won't pull out the journaling cards. They're just Tim Holtz, but I want to get on, because I know this is getting to be a little bit lengthy. I want to get on to the first topper. So a little bit of fabric, button, vintage button and lace, and some cheesecloth and a tag, or label I should say, and some more lace, and just so that you have some dimension. I think that I like the way that turned out. You know, it takes some practice to get used to making little collages and things, and sometimes I think, well, that's missing something, and I just have to keep trying. But I like the way this one turned out. And a little bit of washi tape here, a little bit of washi tape here on the edge to reinforce it. And then on the inside, I kept it pretty simple on this one. I did glue some paper down on the inside so that there was journaling, and a little saying and a butterfly. And this is a pretty stamp that I got recently off of eBay, And this was the set, and I just love this because, of course, it's got the bunnies, but it's got the roses there and then the cute little girls, and it's just kind of, they're Victorian, or I don't know what time period you would say that is, but so adorable. I think that will be my favorite stamp right there. And it just, the detail is so nice. And then I took some more of those digitals that I told you about, and I hinged some together after stamping them. I wasn't paying attention when I was stamping the inside of some of them, and so I have to tell myself and tell the story that, so what I did was, for instance, this is upright this way, but my stamp was upside down on some of them, so it would have been, wrong. So I just glued some of those together and made thick pages, and that's what that is. So again, just in an effort to not waste. I was kind of proud of myself for that. I was just saying, nope, I've got to find a way. Here's one of my bunny rabbit cards that I decoupaged with the dictionary page and lined paper glued to the back and a scripture stamp. And here's a little cute envelope that my dear friend got me. Some things from the store that I told you about that it's like the Japanese Dollar Tree. I can never remember the name, but she got me a bunch of different matching cards and envelopes that have the same little kitty cat on them. And I thought it would be fun to use them in this. Start incorporating them into my journals that I'm making. And then I just clipped that on. And so then I also, to make the journal feel a little bit thicker, or the topper feel a little thicker, my friend that gave me that card with the cats, her daughter, I showed this in a previous video, gave me and gifted me some things to use in journals, and one of them was some of these paper bags. So I thought, well, I'll fill up a paper bag with some goodies. So I stamped it, decorated it again, and put some lace on the ruffle on the top, handkerchief, vintage wallpaper by Tim Holtz, and a label. Beautiful flower that I glued down from, I believe, the Tim Holtz, but I'm not sure. And then these are the vintage wallpaper cards that I cut and made journaling cards out of, stamped. So they're pretty simple. I didn't decorate them, but lots of journaling space, just cute little stamps on the back, and then inked around the edges. Put those in there. And then I put one of these that I had done early on too in a mass baking project that I learned from Kathy in Kathy's Garden. And these are basically taking, scrap paper and folding them and decorating them and filling them by creating a couple pockets. So I thought that would be fun to use one of those in there. I haven't done any mass making for a long time. I need to do some. So that's that part of the topper. And then this turned out to be super cute, I think. It was like just a little cocktail napkin maybe. You can see the frayed edges, and somebody had painted it somehow, how they used to do that. And then I just started decorating and adding things to it. And one thing led to another, as we know how that goes. This, I really enjoyed the back of this and how it looked and came together. Little faux tabs here that incorporated throughout the journal. And then the layering of the Tim Holtz wallpaper that I just thought added a little bit more. And then a little vellum saying to tuck in there. And a little bulb pin. So initially what I had done in this was just put the little pockets on the front and back and filled them with some journaling cards. And since this young woman is a mother, I included some sayings from a book about motherhood and some pictures and whatnot. made a couple little cards, and one of the pictures from the Little Motherhood book I put in a frame, and another stamp, and glued one of the sayings on the back of that. Here's one of those little kitty cards, and a Tim Holtz card. So I thought that would be sufficient, is just to have pockets in the front and back of this little cocktail napkin that I decorated. But it felt really thin, and I decided to make a little journal out of it, a small journal. Here's the back pocket with some more, pretty much the same thing. I think I'm kind of one of those OCD people that likes everything to be kind of balanced out. So I kind of do the same for some reason. But anyway, so the other day I decided, nope, this has enough room in it, and I'm going to go ahead, and I only made 2 holes in it because it's not very big, and I sewed in a signature, and I put together some papers, and this is from a little paper pad, and then I used other parts of it that were kind of matchy and made some cards. Again, I loved these letters. They're kind of Victorian. So I used her initials again on that, and some paper and more vellum sayings and stamps and lace. This is a postcard that's kind of a long rectangular shaped one. A little stamp I put up there. This old envelope that I cut the top off to make pockets out of. Old paper, sticker, a little tea bag that I made a pocket out of. Cut these diagonally and made little pockets. This is kind of special. I don't have a lot of real old documents to put in my journals. I know they're out there and you can find them, but I haven't done that yet. But I did, when I found these button bags that somebody did years ago, embroidered, I found a really neat book that is really old and special, and it's a journaling book that I believe a young man probably wrote in, and it's from 1909. I read the whole thing. I kind of debated about whether or not just to leave it, but then decided it wasn't like what he wrote, and it wasn't that interesting. So I decided it was okay to go ahead and use it for journals and to put it actual antique. Really, it is an antique because it's over 100 years old. That's what constitutes an antique. So I thought that was kind of neat. And then this is a piece of paper that is for children to learn to write on. But I thought that was neat in there. And the envelope was long and rectangular, so just folded it so it would open up like that. Again, some more of that edging from that other handkerchief. And the rest of the postcard, the rectangular postcard. Again, matchy-matchy. Predictable, aren't I? Okay, so I think that's one of my favorite collage type layering that I've done. Turned out to be quite a long video, so Google's going to tell me I'm out of storage, so I need to get this loaded. And then, so I loaded on YouTube, and then instead of buying more storage through Google, which probably I'll end up having to do someday, I just delete my videos. So now you know the rest of the story, right? Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope I've inspired you to learn that if this late blooming crafter can make beautiful things that I feel good about. I love them. I think they're special to give homemade gifts to people. And I love the process. And it's just nice and relaxing to have crafting time. I don't get a lot of it, as I've said before, and I don't want to sound like a broken record because I think all of us are pressed for time. But when I do get to come up here and craft, it's just very relaxing and I enjoy it very much. So thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day or evening. And please like, share, and subscribe if you're inclined to. Take care. Thank you. We'll talk to you next time.